I was just a little kid in the 50s myself, so I wasn't there living the lifestyle at the time. It's just kind of a fun time, and I guess I'm just lost in the 50s. My name's David Lohr, and I'm 50 years old, and I'm the owner of the James Dean Memorial Gallery in James Dean's hometown of Fairmont, Indiana. The collection is, actually it's the world's largest collection of James Dean memorabilia, and we've got 12 pieces of clothing that he wore in the films, personal items, some schoolwork, paintings and drawings that he did, original movie posters from 30 different countries, books, magazines, novelty items. I read this biography in 1974 and then saw the 3 films, and I was just knocked out by his performances and his acting technique and his whole style. And I picked up a book, another book, a poster, a magazine, and never really planned on this.
Roll on, roll on, roll on, roll on, rock on, rock on, rock on, rock on, bump on, bump on, bump on. Well, there's still a lot of rhythm.
I was living in New York City before I came here, and I had the collection in my apartment, but it wasn't, on public display. So I moved to Fairmont to open the James Dean Museum here, and it's just a real nice little quiet town, and people are real nice, and it's old-fashioned. People come here, and it hasn't changed much since when James Dean was here. We average about 10,000 visitors a year come into Fairmont, come to the gallery here, and they come from all over the world. We get Japanese people almost every day. There's people from Australia. There's been people from Russia, Croatia, all over Europe, and Hungary. I mean, it's amazing where people come from. My dog Abra is actually named after Julie Harris's character in East of Eden, and she's just always wandered around here, and people love her. And she's just a good gallery dog. We're always acquiring new items to put on display. The most recent item is a fairly good-sized piece of the Porsche Spider that he was killed in. The Rockabilly Rebel Weekend is all based on the 50s, which is James Dean oriented too. I first started the Rockabilly Rebel Weekend 9 years ago, and it was here in Fairmont. We had the street closed off. We had 7 bands playing. And I first started as another reason to bring people into Fairmont, but it grew so big that I had to move it, and we moved it down to Indianapolis, and it's been down there for the last 6 years. It's a lot of fun. The rockabilly music has never really died, but it's just kind of stayed below the surface. It hasn't gotten commercialized or over publicized. And but the people that come to the shows are 100% into it. They look and live this lifestyle in the 50s, and the hair and the tattoos and the clothing. A lot of people take a day trip and drive up to Fairmont. It's only an hour away, so they'll come up and spend the day up here and then come back to Indianapolis and go to the shows at night. It all ties in with James Dean in the 50s. I think a lot of James Dean, his appeal is he was so multifaceted. Besides being a movie actor, he was a race car driver. He dabbled with bullfighting a little bit. Farm boy, New York bohemian, artist. He has a lot of appeal in a lot of different ways. I don't think I'll ever stop collecting, and as long as there's something new out there to find.